Welcome back. I'm Dr. Reiner, and we were, before the break, talking a little bit about your responsibility, and I say it's a responsibility, but it really is your responsibility to complain to the pharmacy board when you feel like you're being, I don't know, lied to or being put in a position where you can't get your medication. I don't like it. It's not right, and that should not happen. Meaning, as far as I understand it, there is no limit to what I can prescribe. There is maybe a limit to what you can take, but there's the limitations are at the pharmacy level and at the Cardinals. They don't want to do their due diligence. They don't want to know their customers. They don't want to take the time to say and to back up what they're doing. Meaning, pharmacists can easily say, yes, I know this person. They come in every year, they come in every month, they come in every week. I know who they are. They've been regulars. They've been responsible. That's all they would need to say. The DA just says, know your customer. If someone they don't know you, meaning you're a new patient, then it certainly would be appropriate to call the doctor and say, why are you prescribing these medications? What are you treating? They have the right under the law to be able to do that. And that's certainly acceptable for them to make those calls. But when they've been seeing you every day, I had one pharmacist call me about one patient and was complaining that they were on too much morphine equivalents. And I'm like, what was it that made you call me today? Why are you doing that? This patient's been getting this level of medication for a year. What, did you wake up from your nightmare on Elm Street today and all of a sudden now's the day you're going to call me? What was different about today? Well, I just don't want this pharmacy to get in trouble, and they obviously won't. They never will. So I think we have Donnie on the phone. Donnie.
Yes, Dr. Mike. I have a question for you. Do pharmacies know what other medications you are taking when you come in with a controlled substance medication?
Yeah, they do. If you get it filled at if you're getting your prescriptions filled at that pharmacy, they do. But if you do not get your prescriptions filled at that pharmacy, meaning you go there just for your opioids but don't go there for your blood pressure pills, then they won't have any clue because there's no state record of what they call a dangerous drug. Drugs that are not controlled or labeled, as long as a prescription is required, they're labeled as dangerous drugs, and they do require a prescription.
Okay, now I had an incident after family pharmacy closed. I went to Smith's, and they were happy to take my medication, which was a controlled substance. 3 months later, they told me no, and I tried again, called them. I said, do you have this medication? They said, yes. I drive all the way there. They punch my name in, and we can't sell this to you.
Did they give you a reason why?
Nope. No reason whatsoever.
Did they say you didn't fit their profile? Did they...
No, they didn't mention a profile.
Because Walgreens is profiling patients now. They're basically, if you don't fit their profile, they won't prescribe, which, by the way, for all the callers and viewers out there, that's against the law. The only reason a pharmacist can refuse to fill a prescription is if they feel it's in the patient's best interest, and they have to call a physician to verify that. And if the physician and the pharmacist agrees that the patient shouldn't receive the prescription because of something the pharmacist sees that's different than what the patient is getting or something along that line, then that's a discussion and the pharmacist actually holds the prescription. So if the pharmacist refuses to fill your prescription and hands you that prescription back, they just broke the law. And so in that case, it's your job to call the state board and you register a complaint. This happened to a patient of mine down in Vegas at a Walgreens, and I did file a complaint with the state board myself because of the harassment of the pharmacist wanting medical records on a patient, which they don't have the training to read. He wanted a copy of MRI and all this other stuff, which is just asinine in my opinion, because he doesn't have the knowledge to understand what I mean, he wasn't trained to read that MRI. He doesn't know what it means. He's just trained in medications and dispensing and counseling patients. I told him he wouldn't be able to understand that. So he gave the prescription back to the patient, A year later, the pharmacy board finally investigated the pharmacist. He had since moved out of the state and was practicing in Arizona, but said that the patient grabbed a prescription out of his hand. So he obviously lied, and nobody would document it, and the pharmacy board was a little weak in that position, and they didn't want to go after him. And you'll find that a lot. But there again, if you as the patient complain, then the more complaints that come in, and the more the pharmacy manager has to answer questions to the State Board of Pharmacy, trust me, it will make an impression. It will swing the pendulum back the other way. And this is what the pharmacy Smiths, after all this hoopla, if you were a new patient and brought them a controlled substance, they didn't want to deal with you. And I've personally read the messages from their upper levels saying that they don't want to exceed this so-called 30% of their business in opioid business because they're afraid they're going to get so-called scrutinized. Well, the DEA doesn't have a 30% law. They don't have any rule like that. They don't care. It's not part of what they do. Are you still on the phone, Donnie? You hung up. Okay. So they don't care. They really don't care. Now, when a couple of practitioners were kind of investigated by the DEA out here, it was because of a call from the medical board. They went out there to investigate. Now that will raise their ears when the medical board investigator calls up and says, listen, I may have an issue with a prescriber who's indiscriminately prescribing large amounts of medication, especially if the person who's get caught with those medications or selling those prescriptions, then they're going to raise their eyebrows and they're going to come out and take a look at it. But for the most part, if you go to the DEA website and look at their most wanted or the people that are fugitives, when they tell you that we're not interested unless there's more than 2,500 pills, because there's an intent to distribute when you have over 2,500 pills. This little nonsense stuff at the pharmacies and everything like that. I mean, when Walgreens saw a 300% increase in their oxycodone over a short period of time, the DEA stepped in and said, you're a danger to the public. And they were. I mean, really, that's something that should raise your eyebrows. If all of a sudden you were prescribing 1,000 pills and now you're doing 3,000 pills, what's going on? And they found out about it in a retrospective data, meaning they did a pill mill sting, and that's when they found that Walgreens was the main culprit in that, and they fined him $80 million. And then Walgreens supposedly reeled back and said, well, we're just going to limit the amount of prescriptions we're sending to each pharmacy. That's what we're going to do initially. And when they did that, all patients who were on hydrocodone for pain, they all suffered. They ran out and they weren't going to be able to get it. And so where did they go? They went to Smith's, or they went to Walmart, or they went to CVS. And I know for a fact that there are 2 pharmacies in here that were just bought out by Walgreens, and then Walgreens just did a $9 billion buyout of Rite Aid pharmacies. And so now we've got, Walgreens mentality being passed through another pharmacy. The other thing, and I've said it numerous times on this show, which is, you vote with your pocketbook, okay? And that's what Americans do. Every day you go there. So if Walgreens is going to run out of their medication because of their good faith dispensing, or they're going to make it hard for you to get your prescriptions, maybe you might want to think about shopping somewhere else. And these companies, if you were to call Kroger and say, I'll never step into another Kroger ever again because of the way your pharmacy deals with its opioid prescriptions, and enough people do that, I guarantee you that policy will change. I mean, that's why they give away $4 prescriptions for wholesale, because they want to do the Walmart thing. They want you to, these stores, these chains realize that over a period of a lifetime, you could spend $200,000 in Walmart. So they want your business, and they lose money on a $4 generic, hoping you'll pick up a $3 thing of razor blades. Look how much those things cost, $28 or $50, I don't know, whatever you buy. But that's where they make their money, and that's where Walgreens has always made its money. They'll give away a few things, hoping you'll come in and walk out with $20 worth of items that they made a lot of money on. And anybody that can afford to pay $9 billion in cash for another pharmacy chain's got a lot of money in the bank. and what they're doing to the customers is just absolutely insane. I mean, me personally, I don't go into Walgreens unless it's a life or death situation. And maybe you should complain the same. And that's the only way you're going to get anything. That's the only way Americans can get anything done is if they shift where they put their money. This world, this economy is just based on dollars and cents, or say dollars, not no cents. That's what they do. They spend tons of money doing marketing. In fact, CVS won't even build. The only way they let Walgreens do their marketing for them. So Walgreens goes in and puts a pharmacy in whatever. They just follow them in behind and put another one in there and right next to them. That's how they do their business. So I mean, take your business somewhere else. I mean, move your dollars and you will get a reaction. Anyway, and again, the marijuana is a really nice alternative to using the opioid pain medications. So if you want to experiment, and Ray talked about it and Ray alluded to it, the U.S. government will never decriminalize marijuana. They tried to control the trade by letting controlling feds. I mean, you can't get a bank account and you can't charge it on your MasterCard. So they've done some very punitive things to some of these organizations that are doing that. And it's obviously states' rights tend to overrule the federal government, except if you want to go buy a firearm and you're a registered marijuana user, you may get kicked out of the search. And I think that's why, and I'm digressing for a minute, but I think that's why they want to make people, because you could buy a firearm from someone else and they don't ask you that question. So there may be some backtrack on doing this individual registration from owners, making sure that you're not a marijuana user. But anyway, we're going to come back from break, and maybe Ray, you can call in and ask your questions on COPD and the other one, which, well, we'll hit that when you come back. We'll be right back. Thank you.